studio.
Yeah.
I might even get that framed.
Yeah, you should. They're nice. They're big. They're really big.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. Bring one over tomorrow.
For sure. Tomorrow?
Yeah.
No, I'm moving tomorrow.
Moving tomorrow.
We're back. You thought you could get rid of us, but you were wrong. We're back with another episode of Deep Grooves. I'm Garrett. This is Ken.
Back by unpopular demand.
We had enough people saying that they were glad that we stopped, that we decided to do another episode. So we should do some promotion up front.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's Christmas. We gotta sell stuff.
Yeah. So we got store hours. I'm gonna put them up on the screen. You can probably see them.
Special store hours.
Special store hours, holiday hours. And also,
show them the new shirt.
I'm gonna show them the new shirt, but I'm gonna show them the old shirt first.
We have new shirts.
So this is the old shirt. Do we still have some of these?
Yeah, a few.
All right, so we still
They're
got
going fast.
a couple of these, the orange ones. And
the new design.
New design. Look at that. It's a great shirt. So if you really want to like flex your music tastes, show that you're serious about music.
If you want to really be cool.
Yeah, I mean, you got to have one of these.
Well, you really need to have one of each.
Yeah.
Because they are going to become collector's items at some point. About 50 years from now.
Yeah. White label promos, Paramount t-shirts, that's going to be the thing, you know?
Yeah.
All right, what are we talking about today, Ken?
Today we're doing, we each picked 3 desert island rock records.
Yeah.
And we're trying to stay away from, like, obvious stuff. So we're trying to find some stuff that maybe you guys haven't heard about. But these are records that I can't go a long period of time without listening to, and I never get sick of listening to.
Yeah. All right, you want to start us off?
Yeah, I'll start. This is probably the most obvious of the ones that I picked today. Babe Ruth, first base, and there's actually a sort of a hit on this album called Wells Fargo. It's a really heavy album. Complex, heavy, sort of proggy, I guess, but not in an obvious way, in more of a sort of straight ahead rock way. Very hard hitting. Excellent female vocalist by the name of Jenny Han. And these guys had a bunch of other records too, but this is by far their best.
Cool.
So try to find this. This is actually, we've got at least 2 copies in the store right now. It's not that expensive, but I'll tell you, production quality wise, this is also one of the best produced records of the day.
Wow.
Meaning like early 70s. I think this came out maybe, I guess, and say, well, let's say early 70s, maybe 1970, 71, 72 era. But really complex, rich, and warm, but like I said, very hard hitting, and the production is just excellent.
Cool.
Great keyboard kind of mixed into the background, heavy guitar, like chunky, you know, wall of sound guitar type stuff. So yeah.
Ken, you're hiding behind the record. You gotta. There.
So try to pick this up. I think almost anybody would like this.
Cool. Great. So actually, first I'm gonna show off my. We showed off the
You're
t-shirt.
showing off the bag.
I'm
aren't
showing
you?
off my bag. So I did. If you follow us on Instagram, that's another thing we should be plugging. We have an Instagram account, a Facebook page, and a mailing list, which we got a really killer mailing list. But on Instagram, ECM Records. Most of you probably know ECM Records. They're one of the coolest record labels of all time. They did a kind of an Instagram competition because they reached 50,000 followers, so they wanted people to post something for them. So I made a little video. It's on our Instagram page. It's on my Instagram page. And I was one of the winners. So they sent me a bunch of stuff, and one of them was the super awesome ECM bag. So like,
Yay, Garrett.
yeah, thank you. I can't reach. Can you get me? Anywhere I go, I'm now the coolest person in the room because I have one of these. So I just needed to show that off. But so I'll get to the records. I'll start with probably the most obvious. I brought in one I was going to talk about Blues for Allah, and Ken vibed me and said that was too obvious, and I think he was right. But that's like one of my favorite records. But this is another one. Yeah. This is another one. This is incredible. This is Bird's Fifth Dimension, and this is not my copy of it because I didn't bring my copy with. This is an import.
Music on vinyl.
Yeah, but this is the transition. I think kind of kind of on the verge of their psychedelic period. So there's it's kind of a mixture of stuff on here. There's some of their folky stuff. They got Wild Mountain Time, which is insanely gorgeous, and John Riley.
High.
Oh, 8 Miles High. That's kind of the big
Maybe
single.
their most psychedelic song of all time.
Which is not about drugs, actually.
Yeah, but
no, I mean it's a psychedelic song.
It helps. It helps if you think it's about drugs.
Right. Yeah.
It helps the vibe.
And the opening guitar riff. Do you know what the inspiration for the opening guitar riff was?
No.
John Coltrane.
Really?
Yeah. So he was inspired by I think
Crosby.
No, McGuinn on the 12 string. He was Coltrane, the way he could kind of play arpeggios really fast. So that's the.
I thought maybe it was Crosby because he talked about.
I think Crosby turned him on to it.
Documentary about being in the bathroom when John Coltrane busted in
playing his
playing the sax. Yeah, and he said it was like one of the most inspirational moments of his life.
And he's like wasted with his face against the wall or something while it happened. Coltrane came in. But I think he got McGuinn into Coltrane. And then McGuinn was like, well, shoot, I got to see if I can make my guitar sound like Coltrane. So that's 8 Miles High, a badass song on here. And then there's Fifth Dimension, which is, I think, pretty obviously about LSD, I'm pretty sure. And Mr. Spaceman makes me think that they were trying to maybe cash in on the Mr. Tambourine Man thing. But it's a fun song. It's not quite as consistent as some of their other records. There's a couple, like they have got a jam blues track on there that's kind of like, you could kind of skip it, but...
Was Clarence on there?
No, this is before Clarence. I think Clarence showed up maybe a little bit on the next one. Which, Notorious Bird Brothers, I think he played a little bit on that and then really came for the forefront on Sweetheart. But yeah, this was my first Birds record that I listened to, and there's some really gorgeous stuff on here, so definitely check this one out if you have not already. And I don't know if you can see the album cover, they're on a magic carpet. So yeah.
Alright, so my next pick is a record I looked for decades.
Wow.
And it walked in this year in a collection.
Wow.
It was one of those collections where I was digging through mold and slime, and it's like I pulled this out and kind of dusted it off, and I didn't know if it would play, and it cleaned up great.
Oh.
The Human Beings. So they had a kind of a underground hit too called Nobody But Me. So that's probably the only thing that anybody's ever heard by these guys that they would recognize. But it's one of those albums it's really consistent through and through. It's got some weird covers on it, like it's got a cover of Foxy Lady by Hendrix, which you would think would be really stupid, but it's actually amazing.
Wow.
It's kind of garage psych, and there's really not a bad song on the album. I mean, it's one of those albums you just, like when you get through the first side, you want to turn it over because you just can't wait to see what they're going to do next.
Wow.
So I've been listening to this probably 3 times a week since I got it. As anybody that walks into the store on Friday afternoon can attest to. But I just love this record. It's one of the best garage records.
Nobody can see your
ever.
face, man.
Yeah, I know. That's good. So, the human beings, nobody but me.
Fantastic. Cool. So I'm going to gradually... I kind of started with my most obvious. I'm going to get a little more obscure with my second one. I'm sure pretty much everybody watching this knows King Crimson, but this is a record I think that deserves more love. Because they have so many great. They don't really have a bad record. They have some like okay records, but most of their records I think are pretty great. I don't know. Lizard's a little bit. I think Robert Fripp said, because there's kind of like there's like people who are like diehard Lizard fans, and he was like, anybody who's really into that record is weird.
Yeah, and that's coming from one of the weirdest guys on the planet.
Yeah.
You know?
So there's cool stuff on Lizard, like the John Anderson appearance I think is really nice. There's some nice songs on it. But this one I think is kind of overshadowed by Discipline, which is also, obviously an incredible record and deserves the praise it gets because it was the first record that sounded like that. Wasn't anything to really precede it that was anything like it. And this is kind of a continuation, and then they had Three of a Perfect Pair, which I think was the third one, which is, I think, not quite as exciting. But this one has got some really cool stuff on it. Neil and Jack and Me is great. Waiting Man is just, gorgeous.
And it's the Adrian Belew period.
Yeah.
And that's what makes it so interesting. It's a totally different period of King Crimson.
Yeah.
And I actually saw them live with Adrian Belew, and man, they did a lot of this record. It was amazing.
Yeah, this one, I don't know if you could quantitatively say there's more of his guitar playing on this, kind of in the forefront. But when I listen to this record, I really notice his playing, and his solos are just so off the wall. And
Adrian Belew.
Yeah, Adrian.
Yeah, well, if you listen to his solo records, this is an Adrian Belew record.
Basically, yeah. I think he wrote most of the music.
Yeah.
Lyrics by Adrian Belew. I think that kind of the one song that people generally tend not to like is Heartbeat. It's a little more conventional than the other ones, but
great song.
It's a good song.
Yeah.
It just, I don't know, it doesn't do it for me like the other ones.
Really? I love it.
But
I was a fan of Adrian all the way back to the Bears, and I think everything he does is great.
He's incredible.
He's brilliant.
Yeah. He doesn't sound like anybody else. Oh. And of course, the other musicians on here, Fripp is he won't say he's the leader, but he's the consistent member throughout all the...
He's the ringleader.
He's the ringleader, yeah.
The conductor.
Yeah. Tony Levin, this guy who kind of made the Chapman stick sort of instrument that people were aware of. And Bill Bruford, man. Great drummer. So, if you like Discipline, you're going to go crazy over this record. It's really good.
So my third pick is probably the most obscure. This is a band called Black Dub, and gorgeous record. I'm trying to think if there's actually a title. I think it's just Black Dub. Just self-titled. And it's Daniel Lenoir, the producer, with a young vocalist, Trixie Whitley. And for anybody who remembers the 70s and 80s, there's a guy that put out some really cool records by the name of Chris Whitley. And he was a slide guitar player and vocalist, and ended up dying, I think, from drug overdose kind of thing. But that was her father.
Oh.
So Daniel Lenoir kind of teamed up with her, and this is the only record they ever put out that I know of. And it's really interesting stuff. It's like any of the Daniel Lenoir stuff, like the Unforgettable Fire and all that stuff. It's really kind of rich and layered and luscious, but this really is, a lot of it's very dub oriented. Lots of cool guitar riffs by Daniel Lenoir.
Yeah.
It's a super cool package, gatefold.
Is that baby hitting a bong on the cover? What's going on there?
Maybe playing a flute. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe
Here's
it's a
the bag.
flute. I don't know. He's riding a pig.
Yeah, so
It's a pretty bizarre cover, regardless of what's going on.
yeah, very interesting stuff, and another one of those records like there's not a bad song on here. I mean it's just through and through, just solid.
Nice.
You know. So if you ever get a chance to pick this up, I bought it brand new because I've always been a fan of Lenoir, and especially I like his solo stuff almost better than the stuff he produces. So, yeah, very cool record. Black Dub.
Nice. I wouldn't have expected a dub pick from you, I guess.
I wouldn't either, but
Yeah,
I don't know.
that's great.
It just goes to show that the genre doesn't really matter.
Right, yeah.
People ask me all the time, what kind of music are you into? I'm like, good music. It doesn't really matter. I don't
Yeah.
care what it is.
Absolutely.
If it's good, it's good.
Yeah. So my last pick, I've talked about this before, but I love this record. This is Sunken Condos by Donald Fagen of Steely Dan. And I just love the packaging on this and everything. The record cover, the cover's great. The inside is great. And it's on clear vinyl.
And I believe we do have a copy of
There
this.
is. There's been a
stock.
copy in here for like a year. Somebody come take the damn record home. It's a Shonda. Somebody come take the record. It's really good. It's really fun. And of course, the Nightfly is kind of Donald Fagen's masterpiece, which is also one of my Desert Island records. But this one is it's got its own kind of vibe. It's a little bit the production's a little bit livelier than the Nightfly. You know, the Nightfly I think is a little more tightly produced, which is part of what makes it cool. It maybe makes it not so much for everybody. But this one is very lively. He's got really funny, great lyrics. Slinky Thing is kind of exactly what you'd think it's about. I'm Not the Same Without You is almost like a Mose Allison type tune. It's like, I'm not the same without you, and he talks about how much better his life is without the person. And then there's some other good ones. The Good Stuff is like they get away with some heist, and they're like, all right, we're going to break out the good stuff. And then Planet Duranda has Kurt Rosenwinkel on it, one of the most important guitar players in the past 20 years. But yeah, great musicians on here, great playing, really great grooves, and he's just in incredible form. So Sunken Condos, man, this is a really special record, and it's fun. If you want a fun record, this is a fun record. All right, Ken, you've got a special addition today.
I just wanted to say a word about a guy that died this week that was a huge influence on me, and Garrett and I were talking earlier. I think this guy probably contributed more to Americana and country rock than almost anybody.
Oh.
You know, he was doing that stuff with the Monkees. You know, way back in the early, mid '60s. So this is my favorite Michael Nesmith record, and I just wanted to kind of do a little tribute. This is called Pretty Much Your Standard Ranch Stash. This is just a killer record. Great package. But it was a sad thing. Michael Nesmith was the guy, you know. He wrote so many great songs. Songs for other people, songs for the Monkees, songs for solo albums. He had a lot of great solo records. But, you know, he wrote, I heard on the radio this morning, Different Drum for Linda Ronstadt.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. He wrote tons of great songs. So look into Michael Nesmith and, you know, do a little bit of a tribute, you know?
Sure.
He's one of the greatest personalities and one of the greatest songwriters in rock and roll, for sure, you know? So, yeah. This is my favorite one. If you can ever find this. This is probably the hardest one to find of his solo records. But
yeah, thanks for throwing that in there. I think that concludes our episode. We got to do another plug for the shop. We got a fair amount of these records here. So come to the shop, come buy records for your loved ones or for yourself. You know, you should also be a loved one of yourself and buy yourself some records.
Yeah, we got special hours for the next couple weeks. We're probably going to do a shootout, like maybe Wednesday or Thursday,
Okay.
the week of Christmas.
Yeah.
So
What do you think you'll be playing?
I think this year it's going to be Miles Davis Kind of Blue.
Oh, good choice.
Yeah, and I've got a first pressing, I've got a second pressing, we've got Mo-Fi pressings, we've got a lot of different pressings.
Do you have any?
So,
Is that the 45s one or?
yeah, we've got them all, actually.
All right.
So stop by. I think it's probably going to be like Wednesday. What would the date be? That'd be the 22nd.
I can double check.
We're usually not open on Wednesdays, but next week we will be. So stop by.
Yeah, 22nd.
There might be some beers in the fridge. There might be some pastries
Yeah.
like last year. And yeah, listen to Kind of Blue, and you can all stand around and geek out about, you know, the difference between all the pressings.
Yeah.
Which after like 3 beers, it won't matter.
After 3 beers, someone will open the door and it'll go. They'll be like, "Wow, man, Miles' tone is just incredible."
So yeah, the bins are full. We've been buying collections like crazy.
Oh my gosh!
I mean, we've got piles of stuff we haven't even put out yet.
Take some of this shit home.
We're bringing in a lot of really cool new records. We've got some really excellent suppliers this year.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
there's stuff coming in basically every Thursday now.
Wow.
So yeah, so come in and say hey and check it out.
Cool. All right, everybody. Thanks for tuning in. Keep enjoying your music. Happy holidays to everybody. And yep, thanks for watching.
Merry Christmas.